Good evening. This is your evening briefing for Thursday, the 9th of April 2026. Today's briefing spans tensions over the Strait of Hormuz and fresh developments in the Middle East, alongside reports from Australia, Bangladesh, and Panama. Leading the briefing, Iran says talks with the United States will begin Friday in Islamabad after Tehran agreed to a 2-week ceasefire with Washington. Iran says the discussions will centre on its 10-point proposal, including oversight of the Strait of Hormuz and sanctions relief. And Pakistan's Prime Minister has invited both delegations to the capital to work toward a conclusive agreement. Also in the briefing, semi-official Iranian outlets have published a chart suggesting the Revolutionary Guard laid sea mines in the Strait of Hormuz during the conflict, even as the new US-Iran ceasefire largely holds. The chart marked a danger zone over a key shipping route, but it is still unclear whether any mining on that route has been cleared since then. Meanwhile, Russia and China vetoed a UN Security Council resolution aimed at reopening the Strait of Hormuz after revisions were made to try to win their support. The final vote was 11-2, with Pakistan and Colombia abstaining, and the draft would have focused on coordination and called on Iran to stop attacking merchant and commercial vessels. In other developments, reports from Lebanon say Israeli airstrikes hit multiple sites across the country less than 10 hours after a regional ceasefire was announced, with strikes reported in Beirut, Saida, and Baalbek. The Ministry of Public Health says hundreds have been killed or injured, while Doctors Without Borders says it is treating shrapnel wounds and severe bleeding, and that one hospital in Tyre was struck, injuring healthcare workers. Elsewhere, Australia's most decorated living veteran Ben Roberts-Smith will remain in custody after his lawyers did not apply for bail when war crime murder charges were listed in a Sydney court. Police allege 5 counts tied to 3 incidents in Afghanistan, with each count carrying a maximum sentence of life imprisonment. Also today, Bangladesh is facing its worst measles outbreak in about a decade, with Save the Children saying more than 6,400 children across 56 districts have been infected and 98 suspected deaths reported. The hardest hit areas include Dhaka, Cox's Bazar and dense urban slums, and an emergency vaccination campaign has been launched with UNICEF, the WHO and Gavi. Separately, New South Wales has released early design images for 6 Sydney Metro West stations, including Westmead, North Strathfield, Burwood North, Five Dock, The Bays and Hunter Street, after major tunnelling was completed. The line is expected to open in 2032 with capacity for 40,000 passengers an hour in each direction, and the project is being linked to major housing plans along the corridor. In other news, a new World Bank and UNICEF report says 1 in 3 children in Panama lives in monetary poverty, with 34.5% of children and adolescents affected and 16% in extreme poverty. The data shows sharp regional gaps, with poverty below 20% in provinces like Panama Oeste and Los Santos, but above 80% in indigenous comarcas, including more than 90% in Yebe Buglé. Turning to another story, Homicide Squad detectives are investigating the death of a man in Box Hill after emergency services were called to a White Horse Road address following reports of an altercation. The man died at the scene and has not yet been formally identified. And finally, the Australian Army has formally established the Littoral Manoeuvre Group to operate and maintain a future fleet of Australian-made landing craft. Built around headquarters and the 1st Landing Craft Battalion, the new unit is set to expand to 3 battalions and support brigades in Southeast Queensland, North Queensland and the Northern Territory. That is your evening briefing.